What's going on, everybody? Welcome into the Thursday, June 6th, 2024 edition of the Daily Energy Newsbeat Stand-Up. Here are today's top headlines. First up, Senator Ted Cruz introduces bill to repeal Biden's natural gas tax. Was Stu behind this altogether? We will find out. Next up, China and Iran secure key strategic Iraqi gas field. Super intense geopolitical news there. Next up, TotalEnergies snaps up U.S. or UK gas power station in $450 million deal. Next up, Shell CEO calls for political stability around the energy sector ahead of U.S. presidential election cycle. And then finally, $517 billion in unrealized losses hit U.S. banking system. According to the FDIC, they say 63 lenders are on the brink of insolvency. Unbelievable.
Just when you thought it was safe.
No kidding. No kidding. And then Stu will then toss it over to me. I will quickly cover what happened with oil and gas prices today, and we'll dive into the EIA crude oil storage. A little bit less of a build than we were expecting, 1.2 million versus the 4 we had for the API, but we will dive into all that in a bag of chips, guys. As always, I am Michael Tanner, joined by Stuart Turley. Where do you want to begin?
Let's start with our buddy, Senator Ted Cruz. I love me some Ted.
And our Unleash Texas Energy event.
To repeal Biden's natural gas tax. I'll tell you, this is absolutely nuts. Here's a quote. They have driven up inflation and jeopardized American jobs and energy security, all of which would be made significantly worse by the methane emissions fee in the Inflation Reduction Act, Cruz added in the quote. This fee particularly will harm Texas, undermining producers in the Permian Basin and across the state. The porculus bill hits you when you least expect it. Let's see, there are in the statement, the EPA Administrator Michael Reagan noted in the statement, as we implement this historic climate programs under President Biden's Inflation Reduction Act, EPA is applying the latest tools, cutting edge technology, and expertise to track and measure methane emissions from the oil and gas industry. The problem is they have people that absolutely do not understand oil, energy, making these policies.
Nope. It's pretty incredible. that you've got people who have zero clue what's going on are now making decisions about your energy future. Obviously, this bill still needs to pass the Senate, then the House, and then go back to Biden. Who knows if he'll end up wanting to sign it, but it'll be interesting to see how it all goes out. Good group of co-sponsors.
Yes.
The real question was this
uh,
something you brought up to him in your little meeting with him?
He brought it up in talking about it. So when we were there, and that was we've got several other podcasts and meetings coming up with the whole team, and I'm reaching out and working with his staff on that. So Roger Marshall, Mike Lee, Pete Ricketts, Cindy Hyde Smith, John Hoven, Katie Britt, Mike Bond, and Tommy Tupperville, JD Vance, Tom Cotton, and John Brasso were the co-sponsors.
Love it, love it, love it.
All right. Anyway, hats off to him. Go, Ted, go. Excuse me, Senator Ted. Let's go to China. Iran secure key strategic Iraqi gas field. Michael, this one has got 3 bullet points on it, and this is really pretty frightening. The Mansoria field holds 4.5 trillion standard cubic feet of gas and expected to produce around 300 million SCF of gas per day at its peak. For China, the location of the Mansoria field fits perfectly into the vast network of oil and gas sites in Iraq, and this is going into Asia first. Because this goes into our conversation yesterday with Turkmenistan and then feeding in. Oh, this feeds in through the Caspian Sea to the EU.
Club Med.
Club Med, this gets really bonkers that China is now usurping and going around Russia for their natural gas and geopolitical. It's weird.
Well, I think what China is realizing is that if they're, at least this is my opinion, I think what they're watching happen to Russia in terms of how the world reacted to the invasion of Ukraine is how they're planning on the reaction being when they eventually invade Taiwan. One, they're seeing it's possible. They're seeing that Russia's now actually nothing crazy has really happened to them. The key is energy, though. The key is securing multiple ports of and multiple import and export sources for energy, which is the key and underpins most global trade. So I think this has everything to do, in my opinion, with Taiwan.
Oh, absolutely it does. And but you notice Taiwan's not mentioned in this article, but it's a second order magnitude.
We always like to think second order effects. All right, what's next?
Let's go to TotalEnergies. Snaps up a UK gas power of 450 million pound deal. This to me is just another example of folks going out and TotalEnergies goes out and is buying all the natural gas plants in Texas, and they're buying them all over the place. The West Burton Commission in 2013 has 3 combined gas turbines with a capacity of 1.3 gigawatts. According to electricity, gigawatts, 1.8 million homes. Wow. And a 49 megawatt battery storage was in 2018 was added. So they're getting that as well. That's not bad. You know why storage is important is because when the grid pays for it and it's just sitting there, that's why it's cash cow. Batteries are cash
absolutely.
cows.
I am all for the backwards nature of how that works and storage as particular relative to being able to, you want to talk about moving off grid, you have to have storage.
Yeah, I'm paying through the nose for it, getting it set up.
But it'll be helpful when it's set up. Low IRR, high IRR. Or excuse me, low IRR, high ROI.
There you go.
There's a white paper in there somewhere. There's a white paper in there. What's next?
We're going to be the only ones because I got my Starlink and got my batteries. When the grid goes down, we'll be on there.
I know exactly where I'm going.
Right, Shell CEO goes to political stability around the energy sector ahead of the presidential election. Shell's executive officer went to Washington to plead for sanity. How do you get that? I read this article, Michael, and Wal Swan's remarks during his 2-day visit to the U.S. Capitol come as the U.S. oil major reorients strategy for navigating the energy transition amid investor pressure to focus on its prime petroleum business. They went to the green left. Well, the green left is now facing Rutrow in the UK, and it has been just this article, quote, we cannot be myopic and look at what the political narrative is. If we're going to invest in green hydrogen here or blue hydrogen, how competitive are we against the alternative? If some of the incentives are taken away, are we able to survive? He's asking the right questions, but I got tickled at the whole point. How do you go to Washington and ask for sanity?
Yeah, the
can't.
answer is we're trying. We're doing the best we can, but sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks.
No, but hey, let's go to this next one. This next one really frightens me. Around the 14th of this month is a big financial deadline holding up on some things. $517 billion. Huh?
Billion. That's a B.
That's a billion. I'm looking at that going billion in unrealized losses hit U.S. banking system. 63 lenders on brink of insolvency. Michael, there are conspiracy theories out there that this may be used to usher in digital currency. This is, I don't know, don't have any facts on it. That's conspiracy theory. But if it is, that's 517 billion in there. Wherever there's 517 billion lurking in insolvency, there's a lot more that could be out there going rut-row.
Okay. Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot out there. We will be watching closely to see what that happens. I mean, that's what's a few billion between friends?
Bankruptcy. I'm sorry. It says the health of the U.S. banking system is no imminent risk. Then why are they putting all these precautions in?
It's called hedging, baby. It's called hedging.
Nah, it's called control, baby.
Well, hey, who knows?
Who knows? Time will tell, though. Buckle up.
Yeah, well, we'll cover what happened and the EIA versus API crude oil inventory differences here shortly. But before we do that, guys, as always, thank you to EnergyNewsBeat.com, the best place for all your energy and oil and gas news, for providing all of the news and analysis that you just heard. Stu and the team do a tremendous job making sure that website stays up to speed. Everything you need to know to be the tip of the spear when it comes to the energy and the oil and gas business. Hit the link and the description below for links to all the articles, timestamps to all of the articles. They may be a little bit off now that we're doing a little bit of a pre-roll ad in there, so may or may not be 30 seconds off, but you guys will survive. Trust me. You'll take a deep breath. You'll figure it out. You'll
gotta pay the bills, baby.
Yeah, but no, we appreciate everybody. Again, www.energynewsbeat.com. Now, overall markets today, guys, actually do very well. S&P 500 up 1.8 percentage points. NASDAQ up a full 2 percentage points. 2 and 10-year yields fall about a percentage point for the 2-year and a little above 1.1 percentage points for the 10-year yield. Dollar index up about 1/10 of a percentage point. Bitcoin up 1 percentage point, 71,226 as we record this on the afternoon of the 5th. Crude oil up 1.3 percentage points, 74.21. Brent oil only up about 0.3 of a percentage point, 78.77. Natural gas up 7 percentage points, $2.76. Gas is back, folks. Absolutely love to see it. On oil price, mainly what we saw was the fact really what we saw was a smaller than expected buildup in crude oil inventories. Yesterday, we saw about a 4 million barrel guesstimate from the API. EIA drops today. We can go ahead and put that chart up, Miss Producer. 1.2 million barrel build, so a little bit of a delta there. relative to what API was saying. Reuters estimated about a 2.3 million barrel draw. So, I mean, I don't know who these analysts are at Reuters. Just they're people who got fired from Goldman Sachs for being not bullish enough. So they come over to Reuters and they write. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. The other thing we saw was refinery crude runs were up about 61,000 barrels a day. Refinery utilization up to 95.4 percentage points. That's up 1.1 percentage points week over week. Gulf, something interesting. Our Gulf Coast refinery utilization was hit its highest since June of 23. Love a little quote here. Bob Yeager, director of energy futures at Mizuho Bank. We haven't run 17 million barrels a day through refinery since 2019. They're just going to swamp out the gasoline market if they keep doing this, which is great for the consumer because we're going to see lower gas prices at home. I can't complain one way or the other. Gasoline stocks up 2.1 million barrels. Gasoline supplied, which is kind of that proxy for demand, fell by about 203,000 barrels. So we're seeing that, demand on the demand side, it's not as good. I mean, this is the Memorial Day numbers. Quote from Yeager again. You have demand numbers below 9 million barrels per day already in the week of Memorial Day weekend. That's pretty sad considering it's a holiday weekend. Back in the day, we would roll 9 million in March. So the demand side of that, hopefully we see those gas prices fall, but then as gas prices fall, you'll see demand pick up. So it's obviously a seesaw there. We did see diesel futures up about an eighth of a percentage point versus there. Net crude oil imports rose by about 13,000 barrels. Exports were 276,000 barrels per day, or up 276,000 barrels per day, to 4.5 million barrels per day, relative. So things are rocking there. So it's a pretty light day on the news. All our M&A stuff is really chilled out. It's a lot of the private stuff. Just sat through a really nice M&A presentation via one of our customers, which was really nice to be able to kind of hear some third-party opinions about where some of these valuations are going. I'm not sure if I believe any of the numbers, but as always, I am extremely skeptical. What else are you worried about, Stu, before we let everybody go?
Just keep checking your bank account, carry cash, lots of gold, go get some silver, prepare for the full moon.
Silver?
Yeah, full moon's coming, baby.
Yeah, whatever.
Who
I'll
knows?
tell you.
I'm just saying, man, there's weird stuff out there. And I'm not jumping into the conspiracy theories, but when you see a banking thing, go to just skip the conspiracy theory and go to full moon. That's all I got.
You heard it here, folks, guys. Silver from Stu. With that, guys, we're going to let you get out of here, finish up or start your day. We appreciate everybody checking us out. World Greatest Podcast, Energy Newsbeat Podcast, www.energynewsbeat.com. For Stuart Turley, I'm Michael Tanner. We'll see you tomorrow, folks.